Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the RGM Experience podcast with me, Carl Maloney, that guy from RGM, bothering you again for another week here, discussing all things that happen within the music industry and finding interesting people within it. And we've got another one, and it's fourth time that I've not had anybody on this podcast as many times as young Andrew Cushin, and he's back again for the fourth time. We've got no to talk about it, but because we've already
We've exhausted every topic. Every topic we've exhausted over the 4 interviews. But yes, I'm back again. Here we are.
Well, Mr. Cushin, later on, I've been onto your fan group on Facebook, right?
Yes.
And
what I mean, somebody rang me. So someone rang us. I think it was one of the lads rang us and went, somebody wanting loads of questions for you now, and just don't stick anything rude in, for fuck's sake. Please don't.
No, there's not. Well, some of them
sensible ones.
Some were a bit rubbish. So we've got a few just for a bit of fun to finish later on. We've got a few questions from your fans as well, mate, that I've collated. But before all that, it's been a year since we've last spoke to you.
Mm-hmm.
It was the 20th of May it last went out. And then we spoke in May 2023 and then November 2022. All in the archive for people to listen to your recording with Noel and all the old stuff that's happened through the years. But now, what's happened to you? Have you been over the last 12 months, mate? Because the last time we had a chat, you were on tour in Vancouver when we caught up with you.
That's right. That's right. Well, I was speaking about the interview before we started. When it was, I ended up getting half the crew and stuff on that interview. It was a little bit mental. That tour itself was. I think I remember saying to you at the time, it was like I felt like we'd nailed the band structure and the crew and all that. It's the same now. Like we're going away again, obviously next month. Just done the pre-productions at the weekend. We obviously got Johnny Bond, who's came in on guitar. He's been sort of catfishing the bottleman, so he's added another layer of it again. But it's like a proper family now. Do you know what I mean? Like over the years, you kind of find out who you can trust and who you want to have on the road with you, and who's going to look after you, and really mucking and kind of grafting. We've got the most perfect balance now. It's beautiful. So how have I been 12 months? I've been all right. We finished that tour, and then we've done a couple of festivals, done a little bit in Europe. I'm excited to be going back and doing a UK tour because I haven't done one of them since 2023. So that's obviously the next one. I've been good. We've signed to a new agent now. Nice. And he's brilliant. He looks after Robbie Williams and Elbow and New Order and all these kind of unbelievable acts. And his whole ethos is, be a little bit more exclusive with where you're playing. So where I've, done 140 shows a year for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
This time we've had the first 4 months of the year have been purely sell albums, podcast, grow the brand, different, endorsement deals, all that kind of stuff external to playing live. And I've enjoyed it. It's been a little bit different.
Endorsement deals. Tell me about that. How's all that work?
Well, just like various clothing stuff. Obviously, we've worked with Weekend Defender for a few years. I don't say too much about who we're going to begin to start working with and stuff now, but we've got a shoe company involved. We've got a couple other clothing brands that want to do little bits and bobs, things to help you out on the tour and stuff. Obviously, we've got contacts at Fender and Gibson. They help out, and different headphone companies. But it's been good. It's meant that me and Lee have been able to grow that kind of stuff rather than just constantly focusing on, we need to make some money and we need to get to, and we've been able to grow the project and grow the brand a little bit with having this time off. It hasn't been time off, but it's been time away from the stage. So we've done that for the last 4 months. Obviously, the back end of last year, we've done a lot of gigs in Europe and recorded the new album and stuff as well. So it's been busy, mate. It's been good though. I'm still enjoying it. As I say, it's been a little bit new the last 4 months, doing something different to just being that gigging artist.
So you never have to buy clothes ever again then?
Yeah, do you know what? I had this conversation with my mother the other day. I don't think I've bought a jacket or a pair of trainers in about 4 years now. It's fucking ridiculous. It's good though. It's good. Yeah. Half them are invented now, but yeah, it's good.
How is your mum? I met your mum at the first gig when I went to see you live in Manchester, and your mum were doing the t-shirts and stuff. And she's still proud of you.
Oh, she's buzzing, man. She's buzzing. Obviously, she flew out to New York on that US headline tour. So she came out on one of the later shows, and obviously my mum had never been to America. And she absolutely loved it. She came into the dressing room before the show, and there was 3 bouquets of flowers on the table and chocolates and presents. And my mum came in and went, "Thank you so much," and did a big massive cuddle and a kiss. And what are you talking about? And she went, "There's flowers. Are they for me coming over?"
Yes, they are.
I went on the bollocks. Oh, no, I didn't see how they are the bollocks. I went there off the amazing fans outside that I stood queuing. They've given me flowers. Just going, well, what the fuck do you want flowers for? Can I not just have them? And I was going, you cannot. You cannot. But no, she's all right, mate. She's all right.
Good.
Yeah, she's all
And
good.
bloody Newcastle have won a cup.
Haha, yes.
Eh?
I know. Unbelievable, mate. Honestly, that's a weekend that I would live for the rest of my life. The next morning was rough. The next week was rough, actually. I think I went a little bit over the top in the
Did Lee really
celebration.
phone Noel Gallagher? So I saw he put something on Twitter.
He did. He
Did he
did.
really do it?
In front of me and in front of about 60 people in the bar,
Awkward.
mortal drunk. I mean, we were both steaming. But yeah, we rang Jamie Webster. He didn't answer. I think I messaged James Walsh from Star Sailor because obviously he's a Liverpool fan. He sent a really nice. But I love James anyway, man. He's an absolute diamond. Like when he's took me on tour and that, he's really polite. I always get on really well with James. Like he came when we done Kendall Calling last year. It was my first like big festival main stage, like 6 o'clock at night, decent performance sort of thing. So it was packed. And he came out and he played Waiting for the Rain with us and stuff. And he's just an absolute gent. So I sent him this big long message, really drunk, being like, hey, fucking up the tune and you just want shite and all this. And I just got like this most sincere, lovely reply back, like, yeah, mate, he's really deserved it. Wish we had made more of a game. And do you know when you just feel terrible for really going in on somebody's team? But yes, was sat with about 60 people behind her. And I think Lee just jumped up and just went, should I ring Noel Gallagher? And I think I was the only one there that went, no, don't. And then within 30 seconds, it was like, like the I don't know what that was. That was the noise of a FaceTime ring, I think. Like, it obviously didn't answer. I don't think he spoke to her since, actually.
That's funny. It's funny. He put it on Twitter. That's the only reason why I'm asking. I just thought, oh.
Yeah. Well, I sent a video into a group chat of me when we top off in the middle of the bar,
Nice.
just going, fucking come on. And yeah, I don't think I got a reply to that either. As I say, Newcastle first cup in 70 man. It's like it was a big deal. I think everybody in the northeast went, or everybody in Newcastle, definitely every Toon fan went a little bit mental, didn't we?
It looked just from the outside, like I live in Manchester. I'm from Sheffield originally. It looked special for the town, for the city. Like it.
Oh mate, it was amazing. Like it evoked emotions in me for people that have been following Newcastle since they were bands, and they're now in their 60s or in their 50s or whatever, and have never experienced that. It was like, I'm 25 now, and Newcastle's obviously on the up. I'd like to think that it's going to be the first of many, but there's a lot of Toon fans out there that have supported Newcastle for 50, 60 years, and this could be the first and last chance that they ever get to see like sort of Newcastle win a cup. So you did feel quite emotional. Like there's more. It's not just football, is it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it had me thinking about my dad and my granddad, my uncles, and all that kind of stuff. It was really special, really, really special.
Yeah, well, congratulations anyway, mate. As a Sheffield United fan that's got note to come.
I mean, he's all going up potentially.
No, well, we're in playoffs. We've shit it this year, I think.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, it's confirmed now, and it Leeds and Burnley are up.
Yeah. Bless them.
Something's got to change with the Premier League, though. I know that we always say that these interviews will go one of two ways, and this is going the football way, clearly. But I think something's got to change with the Prem now, because if next season, say Sheffield United come up, I'll have anybody come up or something. If Sheffield United come up, and obviously Leeds and Burnley, and if those three teams go back down again, there's got to be something put in place, whether it's like giving the three teams that come up like an extra, few million that they can spend in the windows and all that, because they just kind of compete, man. You look at Ipswich are what, 18th, and I think they're like 14 or 15 points clear of, is it Wolves or something, or Tottenham or something?
Behind fourth, one bottom.
Yeah, maybe West Ham or something like that. But anyway, it's like, and then they're miles off. Do you know what I mean? And they haven't actually been too bad of a team to watch. But the teams like that now, they can't even compete. And no disrespect to teams like Wolves or Brentford or Bournemouth or anything like that, because they've all had really good seasons. But the teams that come up, they can't compete with anybody around there. They can't compete with the likes of your Evertons or your Wolves, let alone trying to compete with Cities and Chelseas and Newcastles and Liverpools and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it is difficult as a Sheffield United fan. We're bouncing up and down for the last few years. You just can't do it. It's particularly our last Premier League season. It was just like we'd score the first goal and then lose 5-1. It was just like,
yeah. Well, that's it. It's like the gulf in class, but even like it's something that Newcastle struggle with, like the whole squad depth thing. I think our starting 11's up there with one of the best in the league, to be truthfully honest. But the struggle that we've got is the depth, and then when you've got teams like Ipswich and stuff coming off, they might have 4 or 5, good, decent players. three of them will get injured throughout the season, and then they're just knackered. So I think they've got to if Burnley, Leeds, and whoever comes up in the playoffs go back down next season, I think the Premier League have got to do something that evens the playing field a little bit. I think.
I think it's lost a little bit of its charm because Newcastle got their own owners, didn't they? And here we go, the richest team in the world now, but they still can't spend out.
Yeah,
There's no fun in it. It was like when Man City got billionaires. It was just like they'd buy anybody
that's it.
for like 70 million quid and just
Wiping their arse for £50 notes, weren't they? It's like you can't really do that now, which is a shame. But I think that's what makes it even more special. That like when we did qualify for the Champions League a couple of years ago, and when we obviously have just won the League Cup, like we've done it with players like Dan Burn, who's playing out of his skin. He only cost with £10 million. You know what I mean? Like Bruno's obviously we're captain now. I think he was only 40 million. The only one that we've really splashed out on is like Isak. And, even in today's, like, he'd be worth a hell of a lot more than the 67 or 70 million that we paid from now. So,
will he be off, do you reckon?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Oh.
I would have had, I had this conversation with someone. I'm not, going to sit here and going, fuck, the best team in the world and all that. Nobody's leaving because I know how football works. And if someone like Real Madrid came in for Isak, I suppose it would be very easy for him to turn his head. But I do think, and I had this conversation with someone, I think if we had had a mediocre season this year, i.e., maybe he's got beat in the final of the cup again, and we didn't qualify. Obviously, we've got Europa Conference now anyway, but we'll keep on going for Champions League. See if we had finished, ninth, and we didn't win a cup, then I think players would maybe start to look at, where we can go. But what a project to be involved in at Newcastle. It's a brilliant time to be a fan. So God knows how good it is to be involved in the club.
Yeah, well, football aside,
yeah.
And do you get a chance to have any other hobbies away from music or football or anything like that? Or is it just full on with the music and spotting the tune?
But you're always full on with the music, I suppose. But now I have hobbies and interests. What do I like to do? I'm a very avid and keen darts player, but I'm not one of these new breed of darts players who buy the fucking Luke Littler dartboard and get it fucking set 100 dart flight and then throw at the wall for an hour and a half. Do you know what I mean? I've played since I was about 16, and having this time away from the gig in the first 4 months of the year, it's allowed us to get back in and sign for all the teams again. I've went a little bit far with it. I think I'm playing 3 times a week now again, which is what I was doing when I was like 16, 17. But yeah, I've got darts tonight. I've got the highest checkout in the league as well. I might stick that one in there. I clocked out a 157 the other week.
I can remember you telling me like when you supported Lathams, they like a bit of darts. They have darts.
They like a bit of darts.
So.
Yeah.
I was speaking to Alex and he said you weren't very good.
He's full of shit. Full of shit. I smashed them all off the board. No, it's funny because when I was playing, we were playing darts with the Lathams lot when we were doing the Louis Tomlinson tour as well. Obviously, I played with them years and years before when they got the first number one. And when we're doing the Louis Tomlinson tour, they bring a dartboard everywhere. But what they do is, right, they sit around you, right? And I think this puts me off. I don't mind it when people are behind us, right? But they're in my eye line, right? So that's what I'm putting it down to. But yeah, I'm sure Scott pinched a couple of legs off us, which I was very bitter about. But I'm an alright player, man. I can hire you dart.
So darts, anything else? A little birdie tells me you're rating to come down with me and all, mate. What's that all about?
Who told you that?
Might be Lee, might not be.
It definitely would have been Lee. Yeah, I have been watching quite a bit of Come Down With. I tell you what I was doing last night. I had about 2 bottles of wine last night watching the telly, as you do on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And I was watching Deal or No Deal, but I got fucking right into Deal or No. Like, because I'm not on the road now until next month, I've just got bang into like daytime television. But like screaming at these people, it's not their fault that they've got a red in their box. And I'm going like, Aka, it's like, Barry from South Wales going, you fucking idiot, what you got a red in your box for? Like, it took like my mother to come, and you just calm down. What the hell's the matter with you? But yeah, I do like Come Down With Me. But I enjoy me cooking dinner.
Yeah.
And I enjoy me a bit of cooking and stuff.
Well,
it's important to do things away from music, I think, as well, because it keeps you, by the time you get back in the studio and you get back on the road, it's like everything's kind of fresh and stuff again. I'm obsessed with music. I'm obsessed with creating music and with playing live. Of course I am. But, it can be detrimental to the creative process, I think, if that is all you do. If I'm sat with the guitar for 7, 8, 9 hours a day, just writing, the songs aren't necessarily good. They're not going to be spontaneous, and they're not going to be special, because they're just going to be created out of sheer I don't know what the right word is, but they're just going to be created out of, sheer hammering of the guitar rather
Yeah.
than being influenced or
Well,
yeah.
just before I get into your writing techniques and stuff, because I've got a question about that. What's your favorite dish and what do you like to cook? What's like you can show off and say, check this out.
What have I been making lately? I'm decent with any kind of meats and stuff. Like I done a duck à l'orange a few
Did
months
you?
ago. I did, yeah, yeah. I'm proper showing me true colours here, on it. Yeah, I do various steaks and all that kind of stuff. I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I've started sussing because sauces was always my downfall. I'd always ruin a sauce,
Yeah.
but I'm starting to get better at that.
And how do you
Um,
eat then? Just red. You would. I like it proper. Like
oh, what
I don't
steaks?
like any red in it at all.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That spoils the meat, doesn't it? I have mine. I either have mine blue or I have it very rare. Just
Right.
pull pull the horns out and slap its horse, as I used to say.
Well, I've recently been to Japan and I tried a bit of shark fin.
Right, I hate that, you see, because I'm a massive advocate for shark protection and all that, you
Are
see.
you
So
really?
yeah, I am. I've
Are you
I've
really? I
got
didn't know that.
yeah, I've got 3 sharks.
Go on.
It's all coming out now, man. It's all I've got 3 sharks. So
Oh,
this started about 2 years ago when somebody adopted
this
me.
sounds set up. This and this is
I know, it's
yeah.
mental. Honestly, I think I'm gonna lose more fans than I gain out of this interview this year.
Could be honest.
Definitely not. Actually, I'm protecting sharks. So yeah, we adopted a little reef shark. She was called Sable. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know why I'm telling you this story. And yeah, I could like track her. She was hanging around. It was like a Disney Pixar thing, right? Because I was tracking her,
Yeah.
and she was constantly around this mature male bull shark called Terry or something like that,
It
and
sounds like
and a and a sea turtle, and all three of them are protected, so they'll get like a tracker on like their dorsal fin or whatever, so that people can track them. And then if they do get fished and you can see the tracker, you know to put them back, or you should put them back. So they're like protected, but it was like them three just traveling together, and I tracked them for like 6 months, just always together, and I thought, oh, there's a great little film in this. Do you know what I mean? And then
Well,
I
I
got another
apologize for
one.
upsetting you for having a shark fin. It wasn't very nice. I'd never have it again. I'd never recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, yeah. I got another shark the year later, and
Okay.
then the best one was I got somebody adopted me a great hammerhead when
Mm.
I was in America, and this was beautiful. I can't remember who gave us it. Um, but what a lovely, lovely thing to do, right? It was like it was my dad's memory when I was in America,
Oh.
and it's killing me that I can't remember her name. I think it Victoria, maybe might have been, and this lovely, lovely young girl from America. She came to the show and she went, "I know it's your dad's memory. I hope this cheers you up." And she gave me an envelope and she'd adopted his great hammerhead shark. And I was like, "Oh, bless you, man. Thank you very much." So that was really sweet. So yes, I've got sharks, Carl. Get over it.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I just feel really bad now for just,
Oh, you shouldn't feel bad, mate.
just
Just,
in a
just
foreign country. I thought I'm just going to try something a bit mental.
yeah, of course. I'm
First
not.
couple of
I'm
days, and it weren't.
yeah,
It was rank.
yeah, but it's not meant to have any flavor, is it? It's meant to be
No,
quite.
it was just blissful. It was just horrible.
Yeah. I swear, is it not just purely for the It's like the aesthetic thing of the soup that it normally comes in and stuff in it. That's kind of what it
I
all
think
is.
so.
Never mind.
Funny. I love these little tangents.
Yeah,
Uh, so,
I
um,
forgive you.
so you're building up. It's pre-season time. The new album's coming out. Begging season. It feels like, I suppose, sometimes
Yeah.
every artist's got a graft. Everybody's got to go out there and promote the album and let everybody know that it's there. Within the description of this podcast, there is a link to pre-save the album too. I've had a little sneak peek of it. It's fun, fucking tastic.
Thank you very much.
I'm really interested in your writing techniques. You mentioned earlier that you can't sit down for too long unless you're just going to force things out, and it will probably
Yeah.
not be as good. The best songs seem to fall out the sky a little bit.
Yeah, but that's one thing that sort of Noel Gallagher's always said, and I think Chris
Yeah.
Martin stuff said it the same. I definitely work in that way where it's like if I sit and hammer away at the guitar, I'll just end up getting frustrated. Nothing that special will tend to come out. But I'm very disciplined with it now. If something doesn't happen when I am sitting down to write something, I put the guitar down now and I forget about it for a few hours or maybe a day or so, and then I'll come back to it. Whereas what I used to do was I'd get myself really frustrated, and the more frustrated you get, similar to darts with football, the more you try to beat yourself up like you can't do something, it gets even more difficult. Do you know what I mean? If it's like Yeah, it's quite spontaneous the way that I write songs. Sometimes I'll sit and I'll write a full song out, and then other times I might get a chorus or a verse. I've always worked that way though, ever since I was 16, 17. So there's nothing particularly new with that. I found it a little bit difficult, or not difficult, just a little bit different when writing the second album because
Mm.
you get, what age was I signed? I was signed when I was 19. Done my first gig when I was 18. I had Waiting for the Rain from the age of 16. So I already had the title track for the first album, fucking 5, 6, 7 years before the album actually came out. So you do feel like you've got, from the age of being signed 19 to first album came out 2023. So 23? I think so. Yeah, it must be. It's 2023. So I had 4 years to write it effectively.
Mm.
And then that comes out, and then you tour it, and then we're away with Louis, and then we're done a couple of festivals. So, and then somebody rings you, normally Lee or somebody from the label, and goes, right, you're booked in for the full of September to go and record the album. And you're like, right, I've got 6 months to write an album. I had four
Yeah.
years to do the other one. So it was just a bit of a different process, but I don't feel like I rushed any of the songs. All the songs still feel special. I was very conscious to try and make them as upbeat as I possibly could. I think the first album was there's a lot of uh more personal subject matters and stuff on there, and how I was dealing with grief, and how the guitar was effective. I've spoken about it very openly, but how the guitar was effectively my counselor for that album.
Yeah.
And I was therapizing myself with song, I feel like. So this one, I didn't really want to do that again. I wanted to make everything quite joyous, and I wanted to make something that's really relatable. Everybody falls in love, everybody falls out of love. I think love's the most natural thing in the world, in it. So I found it quite easy to center the album around that subject. But then still putting on instrumentation that you could go and fill a festival field with it, like New World Blazing and Kiss the Sky and Song for You. Even Lovers for Everyone's got the big electric guitars going off. I wanted to try and create something where it's like, no, he is a songwriter, he is a bit of a storyteller, but he's also a 25-year-old lad that likes to,
Mm.
go out with his mates and have a bit of a laugh, and yeah, maybe be a little bit mental on stage, all that kind of stuff. I wanted to try and get everything out. If that makes
Just
sense.
one little observation, and I don't mean yourself necessarily. I just think I do see when running a magazine and stuff, people are tending to bring an album out most years now, and I don't know if that's an impact on the music industry where there's not as much money in the actual your favorite thing, making and playing the music, than having something physical that you can go out and tour and earn your earn your living and pay the bills and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
How does that feel to you as just a general observation?
Well, I mean, I'm well aware of the world that we live in. Everything's
Mm.
streamed and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? When I was a band, I'd go out and buy CDs and all that kind of stuff, but I was never really a vinyl collector or anything like that. And I'm part of the problem, not part of the solution at all. I listen to
Yeah.
Spotify, I listen to Apple Music and all that kind of stuff, or Amazon Music, whatever. So I'm well aware that I'm part of the problem as well. But
But
that's
that's
the world.
everybody though.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course
Yeah.
it is. I'd say it's just the world we live in. It's like if you compare whatever it is, 14.99 a month for Spotify and have every song in the world ever, or go and pay £25 for one person's vinyl, you tend to going to do the Spotify option, which is why it's difficult for artists and it's difficult for myself. Um, to try and make money, which I do think that is why people maybe release an album once a year, because like you say, it's a license to go on tour, in it. It's a license to gig. You don't necessarily make much money on the album, if anything, really, because 9 times out of 10, I've been fortunate enough that I've been signed to a label for the records that I've released, so they absorb the costs and then we pay them back over the until we're paid back, which sometimes can take years with everybody streaming and stuff. So the only way that you do really make money is by going out and live, and unless you've got an album to tour, nobody wants to see you play the same songs,
Yeah.
every night for 4 years running on tours, So I think that's probably why. But yeah, we've given it a year. The first album was 2023. Last year was a big touring year for us, and obviously we recorded the album last year. So this is probably the earliest we would have been able to release this. I don't know what we're going to do for the third album. I suppose it depends how this one goes down.
Yeah, well, I was speaking to Tom from the Lottery Winners, and he's just like he's playing venues now that he's been supporting bands. He's been doing a lot of supports, and he's got to a stage where he's headlining these venues now, the bigger stages and that kind of stuff. And he was talking about it. You've got to get out there and graft. You've got to do your merch. You've got to do all the video stuff. You've got to create content all the time to keep people interested in what you're doing and let them know where you are in each city and
Yeah, of course you
each
have. Of
country and all as
course
well
you
for
have.
you, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. As I said, that's why it's so important for me to get back out to America in November. We're definitely going back out and doing Europe. You can't afford to create a fan base in an area and then neglect it for 2 years or neglect it for 3 years because it won't be there. Do you know what I mean? You've got to constantly keep people engaged. I think Tom's a good example of all the content that they put out on social media. Some of it's quite debatable if it's watchable, some of it, but anyway. But yeah, you have got to continuously keep people involved and engaged, whether that be releasing new albums and changing up set lists, or whether it's doing covers on social media or supporting as many artists as you can. You have got to graft. Everybody that pulls me when they first started music, and I get quite a lot of them round, when I'm in like Newcastle and stuff. It's how do you keep it going and all that? You have just got you've got a gig and you've got a graft and you've got to grow your brand, and yeah, you're a product effectively, aren't you? You've got to keep on working on yourself and you've got to keep on working on your craft, and yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last few years, and like I say, I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, where do you feel you sit within the industry as of today then?
Where do I feel I sit? Um, what do you mean, like success wise? I don't.
Kind of, yeah. People go through different stages. You start off in little venues, don't you?
Yeah, but I mean, all the venues are getting bigger, and the
Yeah.
venues that we're playing on this tour, we've done a few of them a couple of years ago, but they never sold out, and all the venues are now selling out. So it shows growth. And I've always said, that whole thing of making it or breaking through, does that really fucking exist, or do you just get to a level where you're comfortable? I've always said, as long as I'm happy, as long as I'm happy doing what I'm doing, I can make enough money to get by. I'll do this till the day I die. Do you know what I mean? So, obviously, I've got massive aspirations. I know the level I want to get at. I know how to get there now, which is a big difference to when I first started. I know how to
Yeah.
ride the ladder, if you will, and I know how to get up to the next stages. Um, but what the fuck was I saying there? I just totally lost track. Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I know how to get there now, but it's not the be all and end all if we don't get to a Sam Fender level. Do you know what I mean? I've always got that in the back of my mind. I want to push my music as far as it'll go. I want to be the best version of myself. Um, and yeah, as soon as I get to that point, I'm going to be more than happy. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you've always had your head screwed up, screwed on, and screwed up, screwed on
Screwed up, yeah.
when I spoke to you. One thing you said to me last time we had a chat was that you don't really worry about what they're doing over there anymore. You're just concentrating on yourself, and that's quite a mature way to look at it. A lot of people out there are looking, oh, what have they done that? Have they done that? We are.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
just wasted energy, isn't it?
Of course it is, man. Of course it is. And like social media is one of the biggest problems with that because,
Yeah.
I'll get off stage at a city hall, for example. When we done the city hall 2 years ago, we went and done 2 nights. I got a phone call off somebody at one of the papers, and they're like, "We're going to run this story of how you're the youngest Geordie to ever do." I think I was 22 at the time, or 21 at the time, or whatever. And it was like, fucking hell, that's amazing. And then within half an hour of getting off the stage, you scroll through Instagram and you see that somebody's playing, Newcastle Arena, or somebody's doing this, and you instantly go from that euphoric, um, adrenaline rush of getting off stage to going, oh, but why aren't we doing that? Are we It's just,
Yeah.
it's such a waste of energy, man. You've got to, I'm a strong believer of living in the moment, and yeah, concentrating on what you want to do and becoming the best version of yourself. I know that I'm not a Sam Fender. I know that I'm not a Noel Gallagher or a fucking, Bob Dylan. I know that I'm not any of those people. So the only thing that I can do is be the best Andrew Cushin that I can be. And I'll only be that by concentrating on my own work and my own craft and my own growth. As long as I'm growing, as long as I'm getting bigger and the engagement's getting more and I'm going in the right direction, I'm more than happy with that. I'm not too bothered what anyone else is doing, whether they're, you know, 10 times higher up the sort of ladder than I am, or whether they're kind of right down at the bottom. I just kind of concentrate on where I am, which comes back to the point when I was saying at the start of this interview how we've created now a tour party of roadies and of bands and tour managers and drivers and all that I can really trust, and that becomes a family. So when I'm going away on the road, someone might have been in that venue that I'm playing at on the night. They might have been in the last night and sold double the amount of tickets, but I'm not bothered because I've got my family with us, I've got my friends with us, we've got a great team. I've sold more tickets than I did the last time, so
Yeah.
I'm perfectly happy when I'm just concentrating on myself. Yeah, I feel a lot better mentally by not necessarily giving a shit what other people do as well now.
Well, I was going to ask how is it for a relatively young lad? You're 25, having the pressures of these gigs and new records, music within a shorter period of time than what you used to. How is it mentally for you? How is your mental health?
Yeah, it's all right, man. It's like water off a
Yeah,
duck's back with me. I'm well aware that not everything that I release people are going to love. Some people are going to prefer, the older, more acoustic songs. Some people are going to really prefer these ones. Doesn't really bother me too much. As I say, as long as I'm happy doing what I'm doing, then everything's good, really. But as I say, keeping a good team around you, I think, has been really, really important with us. Like, obviously, I've been with Lee since I was 18, 19. Me and him have been on this journey together. He's massively, well, he's massive for me and for my development. And then the people that we bring on the road with us as well. You've got to have a supportive and a loving network around you, I think.
well,
And we've definitely nailed that.
well, definitely. And I've had the chance to speak to a few. And Richard Smedley, we've had on the podcast.
Yeah.
I've met Michael. I met him down in Sheffield. I'm good mates with Harriet. He's going out with Harriet. Had a beer with him down at Frog and Parrot in Sheffield, just tramlines last year. They're all so passionate about just being part of the team and playing that music live. It's just from just speaking to a few people in your band over the years. It does feel special. It feels nice.
Mate, it's amazing. Honestly, I'll keep on going back to it, but it's like if we don't get to stadiums around the world, you know, as long as I'm happy and as long as I'm with these people and they're enjoying it and I'm enjoying it and I'm making enough money to get by, I'm more than happy. Like, I watch so many interviews where people talk about themselves as though they're fucking in the Beatles. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I am under no illusion of where I am in my career and how much further I've got to go and how easy it would be for me to slip down. I'm under no illusions of any of it. I'm quite clued up with the industry now. So the biggest thing for me is to just be happy and just enjoy what I'm doing and surround myself with people who are grateful to be on to be on the journey and also wanting to muck in. Like Michael, obviously Rich, there's a massive amount of trust between me and Rich. Obviously, he's my musical director. I give him the set. He does his bits with it. I maybe change one or two things. There's such. I wanted to create something where everybody feels like they've got a role. Do you know what I mean? Even Rich Baldwin, the guy who sells all my merch and stuff, will turn up to like sort of a gig and he's got just as big of a part to play as I have. Do you know what I mean? It's like I wanted to create something where everybody feels like they've got worth, and I think we really have, and everybody respects each other, everybody gets along with each other, and everyone's happy. That's the main thing.
And what about like? Because I'm a bit fascinated with when I see a progression of a band, particularly like when I've watched Lottery Winners recently and the K's and all that kind of stuff. When the production on stage is growing, like the ratings, they put a lot of time and effort into what goes on behind you as well as the band as well. How do you?
Well, we don't just plug in and play anymore. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing with us. Everything's been carefully thought out between set lists and putting things on track. My full set now is to a click into track. So it's the same show every night. So I know that if somebody is having a bit of an off day, it's not going to drag everybody else down. Do you know what I mean? We're all locked into we're playing to the record effectively every night. So naturally the show sounds more, the gig sounds more like a show.
Yeah.
And like I say, when we've done pre-production on the weekend, Johnny Bond, who's just came in, he took to it like a sort of duck to water. He was amazing. And everybody's just mucked in, and I'm so proud of how the lads have grafted in them 2 days, and I'm really pleased with where the set is. I can't wait to get out and play it because I think, towards the back end of last year when we were playing that Waiting for the Rain set, we were coming off stage and we're just like, yeah, that's the standard, like kind of every gig, and I knew that we were putting on a good show because we worked on it so much. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of them things where it's like we didn't half-arse anything, so all the effort that we put in, I knew it was a good show. Even if people weren't keen on the music, I knew that what we were doing was the right thing for that record. And we've went in with this album and we've just totally smashed it out of the water. It's kind of even bigger and better again. So,
and is it really Johnny from Catfish? You said John, yeah.
It is Johnny from Catfish, yeah.
And what kind of experiences from his time in Catfish has he brought to you and the overall band?
Yeah, well, it's just like it's one of them standards things, isn't it? Where, like I say, everybody knows that they've got a muck in my team, and everybody gets along well with each other. There's a time to have a laugh, and there's a time to really work. And there was a moment when we all started setting up on stage where it was like, nobody's seen each other for 4 or 5 months. And it was like, as soon as Bondy kind of walked on stage, he's got this pedal board, which is like fucking Millennium Falcon of sounds. Do you know what I mean? It's mental. And then he's bringing on this big Lucille Black Gibson guitar, which I recognize from the Catfish days and all that. And then like when he starts playing, it's one of those where like the standard raises again. Do you know what I mean? It's probably why I'm so proud of how the set's sounding. I think that's probably got a lot to do with him as well as Rich and as well as the band playing it. I think Rich putting the set together is massive. But then the sounds that are coming out of Bondi's guitars now are just it's fucking unbelievable. But it's one of them standards things where, although it's one of them things that you don't necessarily talk about, you don't want to sit there, blagging somebody's head about what they've experienced and what they've done in their career. It'll become apparent, I think, when we start gigging, to just how influential that guy can be on how we act on stage and the standards of the band and the standards of the crew and stuff as well. Because he's been there and he's done it all around the world. Do you know what I mean? So biggest thing that I can do as well. I mean, I'm the singer, I'm the one with the name on the poster, but even I want to learn from him as well.
Yeah, no, I can tell. And you're back in America as well. You've got funding for America again. That looks fun. Tour kicks off, UK tour. You got your album. Are you just resting now, calm before the storm? Is it? Or
Yeah, well, we start the in-stores next week. The in-stores are all acoustic, so it'll just be me and Dennis and a driver. We've nailed the in-stores this time round. On the first album, I think we've done 5. I think we're doing 12 and 6 days now, so we're doing 2 a day. So we're really trying to graft to get those pre-orders in. Obviously, I was mentioning before the podcast started or the interview started that we were doing various links that we're now getting sent to friends and family because you need all your friends and family to jump on it as well. It's quite funny actually though because I've got obviously loads of group chats with kind of the lads and stuff like that, but I've been almost bribing them to buy the album. So we've got that one CD that we put down to a fiver to try and push up the pre-sales, and I was sending all the lads and going, just buy one of these, and I've promised half of them a pint if they buy it. One of the lads has just started playing darts, and I'm, well, if you buy it, I've got loads of sets of flights in the house that you can have. I've got another lad who's got a 5-a-side team, and I went, well, for everyone you buy, I'll give you a free week that I'll come play and goal for you. So it's like I'm like kind of trading off everything that I own to get everybody to buy the albums. But yeah, we start the in-stores next week. And then I think we've got a few days off after they're done, find out where we are on the charts. And then
Andrew Cushin shop. That seems to be a thing that bands do these days.
Yeah, well, we are looking at doing something like that in Newcastle as well, on maybe it's the Thursday night. We've got the HMV Newcastle on the Tuesday, I think, and then I think we're going to look at doing like a free entry pop up shop. I think we're going to try and do it around where we filmed the first video and where we've done the album cover at the bridge in the town. So yeah, we're going to try and get that over the line. And like you say, man, you've got a graft. By the end of the week, people will be sick of seeing my face and sick of hearing, "Will you buy this album? Will you buy this? Will you buy this?" But like you say, man, you've really got to do it. And if you don't do it, you tend not to be as far up the charts as what you want to be.
People understand, and it's 2nd of May. No albums out. Love is for everyone again. Pre-save link is in the description of this podcast, wherever you're listening to it or watching it. Grab yourself a pie. I've pre-ordered the vinyl. I've gone for it, mate.
Good lad. What vinyl did you get?
Well, now you've got me. I can't remember. It was a while ago now.
We've done a gold one, a black one, and then we've got a magpie one. They all look great. They all look great. Yeah, I think I've got the magpie.
25 quid. Are they all the same price?
Yeah, they're all the same price. We're not trying to rip anyone off, mate. Come on, they're all the same price. And all signed as well. They're all signed.
All signed.
Nice. That one, all signed. Yeah. Hand signed as well. Fucking, there's no what's it like the pusher signature things. There's none of that with me, mate. Honestly.
Well, I have thought you might be sporting Oasis this year, just with your connections and stuff.
Yeah, well, you're not the first person to ask me that, but I am going. We've been sorted out for Edinburgh, so that's going to be it's going to be a canny night and an even better after party, I assume. Oh, nice. But yeah, I'm going up with a few of the lads, and I think Lee's going up as well, so that's going to be good. Yeah, and then I think we're in America the same time as they're there as well, actually. So you never know. We might try and get to 1 or 2 gigs. I'm not sure if we'll be. I very much doubt that we'll be able to support. It's one of them gigs that everybody in the world wants to try and get on. So I'm not too optimistic about supporting, but I'd love to go and see them in America as well.
Big time. Have you ever seen them live? Are you old enough to
And I've never seen them yet. I've never seen them. Obviously, they've done the last gig. What was it, 2009? The closest one to me was in that stadium over the water. Who plays there again? Sunderland or something. I don't know. So I was never going to that one. Funny enough. But also, so that was the last time that they were close to me. I've got loads of friends. I think Lee's been to see them 40 odd times or something like that all around the world. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, I've seen Nolan stuff a fair few times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've seen
Oh,
Liam before. So I imagine the two of them together is going to be pretty special.
let's do a bit of begging before we have the fun with the from the fan questions then. So
How well then?
if you've not clicked that link yet, that's only a fiver now if it's CD or download. Tell them what to do, pal.
You got to click the link.
Yeah.
And then it's very if you're struggling to click the link, you probably shouldn't be buying the album. So what you do is you just click the link, and then you've got a £5 download or you've got a £5 CD. If you really want to help out, buy them both. If you know anybody that would want them, buy them one as well.
Yes.
And hopefully, with a lot of sales and an even more amount of luck, we might end up in the top 20 of the charts. So let's see what happens.
Nice, nice. Well, so yeah, as I mentioned right at the beginning, let's have a bit of fun then. Let's get these fan questions out, mate. So, Katharina Waylau has asked, "What's the most unusual talent you have, or a talent we don't know about?"
I can shake my eyes.
Go on.
No, I can't do it on the thingy because it'll thingy. So it's one of them where, yeah, I can shake my eyes. That's all I'm saying. Do you know like that?
Okay. Oh,
I can do that. That's a pretty good one.
There we go.
I kind of do that on the webcam. Honestly, I'll end up hurting myself. What else? I mean, shaking my eyes. It's a good party trick. I've pulled that one on. You know when it gets like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning at someone's house, it really freaks them out.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Can you do that shit with your eyelids?
No, I can't do any of that. I don't trust anybody who can do that either.
No, I don't.
I don't trust anybody who can do that. I can shake them. That's about it. What else can I do? What's another good trick? I think it's just shaking my eyes, really. I think it's just shaking my eyes, and there must be something else that I'm good at beside music and shaking my eyes. There's got to be. That's not.
Let's get on to the next one. So Jill Drummond mentioned on stage outfit, Sunderland shirt or a green Borat thong.
A green Borat thong.
I knew you'd something that way.
Funny enough, she must have been in my wardrobe because I was planning to wear one of them on the first night of the tour, actually.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah. So there you go. I'd rather wear nothing on stage than a Sunderland shirt, to be honest with you.
And Ruth Hetherington asked, if you had the chance to cover one of your favorite songs, which one would it be and why?
Oh, well, I've been covering Simple Twist of Fate by Bob Dylan quite a lot. I really love that song. If I'm being truthfully honest, though, a song that I'd love to do, and I was going to try and work it into the in-stores, actually. I'm a massive Damien Rice fan.
Nice.
Me father was a big Damien Rice fan, and I've been really getting back into him lately. And it's like, he's one of them artists where it's like, you know, I think he's very much Marmite, effectively. Do you know what I mean? Because he's like one of them singer-songwriters, but he's almost on the folk thingy of it as well, where it's like, it is really slow acoustic playing, like 13-minute songs and all that kind of stuff. But I'd love to pick something out by Damien Rice, maybe like The Blower's Daughter or something. But mainly just because my father was a big fan, and you know, it was a big part of my childhood. Always listening to Damien Rice. So yeah, probably a Damien Rice tune, to be honest.
Yeah, and Richard Morley asked, do you put cheese then beans on a jacket potato, or beans then cheese? We're getting to the hard.
Yeah, I don't like beans at all. I don't trust anybody who eats them. I don't trust anybody who likes them, really. But I imagine the cheese goes on top, surely, yeah. I imagine.
I'd think you'd put, yeah.
I imagine the cheese would go on first, butter, and then I can barely even say the word beans. It knocks me a bit sick. But yeah, then them, and then the cheese on top. I imagine. I think that's probably how you do it. If it was like something that I liked, if it was like you say, what's that? that's Spud bloke, isn't it? The kid that sells all the jack potatoes. He's massive on social media. He's brilliant. He's got like a potato van and all that, but he does like butter chicken and all that. And if you were putting like butter chicken and stuff on, you'd put cheese on top, wouldn't you? So I imagine you'd put the cheese on top of there we go. The other things.
The other things. And Dennis Half-Eyed Smith has asked, what's your dream guitar to play or own?
Oh, that's a good one. Good lad, Dennis. Well, I've got a 335 Black Gibson with I modified it and I got a Bigsby put on, and that's pretty far out. That's a pretty special guitar. A 355 would be pretty special, like the Noel Gallagher red one. I think Johnny Marr's got one as well. That'd be great. Jake Bug, I was asking about this when we were on the tour with him. He's got a blacked out Fender Strat from something like, I think it's something like 1969 or something like that, 68, something like that. And that's like a pretty special. Any of like the really old Strats and the really old tellies, I'd die to have one of them. Something that's quite achievable would probably be another 355, I imagine. But my black 335 plays a dream anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, nice, nice. And Liam Madison has asked, who would your four dream guests to go for a pint with? Two dead, two alive, and which bar would you take them to?
Oh, that's a great question, Liam.
Hmm.
I'd take Paul Gascoigne.
Nice.
Is he alive? Which he is.
Yeah.
Who else would I take? I'd have to take Noel, wouldn't I? I'd have to take Noel
Yeah.
for a good catch up. I think Noel Gallagher and Paul Gascoigne would be genius. I'd take Amy Winehouse
Nice.
and I'd take Jim Morrison as well. I think you've got some good stories going around that table. And where would I
And some
take
good
them?
drink.
Where would I take them? I'd take them to the Lockside, just across the road, because
Okay.
it could have the potential to end up really drunken, and I only live across the road, so I could
Ah,
fall out. I
there
could
you go.
fall out the front door and straight in the room, you know.
There you go. Malcolm Hall asked, any particular career options seem viable when you were at school?
Um,
Did you have one of those like meetings where they put your skills to a certain job and that kind of
oh,
stuff? I don't know if they do
yeah, and then you should be an architect.
that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of them. I did, but no, I was never brilliant in school, man. To be fair, I was all right. I used to wag a lot of lessons to go play football and all that kind of stuff. But I never really wanted to do music. Anyway, music was
Yeah.
never a big thing. I was playing the guitar then, but just in the house.
Mm.
Um, Football was always my real passion. I remember when I left school though, and I bumped into this teacher a little while ago, and I think he's came to one of my gigs since. He's a good guy. I've got a lot of respect for him. But on the when I was leaving, I've still got the. Do you know when you do like your levers jumper and all that kind of stuff? I think I've still got it somewhere. It might be in the loft. And he wrote on me jumper, just get a job. As I was leaving, he shook my hand. He went, he said, you can make a lot of money, son. He went, but you need to find like a building site or you need to do something with your hands. And I was like, thank you very much. That is, so I've been through the last 5 years of school and I'm fucking going to use my hands. And then, I mean, I am using my hands, I
Yeah.
suppose. But yeah, I don't know. I probably would have just always, if I never done music, I don't know. I would have either ended up in an office or I'm not much of a grafter, to be truthfully honest, when it comes to like building sites and all that. My father was always
Yeah.
on the tools for his full life.
Mm.
And I could never really see myself doing that. I don't know. Fucking car phone warehouse, is that still a thing?
There we go. There we go. Terence asked, would he consider doing a live album at some point?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. There's been talks of us doing it. I wanted to do it for Mouth the Tyne, um, with that being the biggest headline we've done. I think it's like 4,000 people or something. It was mint, but because of the weather and all the rain, there was like mics and stuff were getting a little bit damaged, and we couldn't really graft it in a way where because I don't know if you've been to Mouth the Tyne, but it's right beside the beach in
Mm.
Tynemouth, and the wind and the rain was like cutting across the stage and it would have thingied it. So it kind of ruined that idea. But yeah, I'd definitely love to go do it again. If I was to do a live album though, I think I'd rather do a live studio album than a gig. Unless it was maybe
Yeah.
unless we got to a point where we played St. James's Park, for example, or
Yeah.
if we'd done a big massive arena show where you know the equipment and there's going to be good enough that you can go and do a live show and still record it all. I think I'd rather do like, do you know like the Liam Gallagher live thing that he
Yeah.
done? Was it in Hull?
Yeah,
Where it was like
been like a cathedral type thing, wasn't it?
yeah, so there might have been like 1,000 people there. It was always planned that it was going to be an unplugged
Yeah.
album, but it was also like there was studio equipment on that stage. You know what I mean? It wasn't a live set. So I think if I could do something like that, then yes. Um, if not, I'd do a live studio album. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got a hell of a lot more albums in it, so
Nice. And Wilf
definitely one
Gill.
day.
Oh, I've had a pint with Wilf before. Hi, Wilf, mate, if you're watching. I had a pint with him in Bridlington last year for this Feelings gig. He's a photographer. He's a nice lad. If you're having a bacon sarnie, another food one, do you have red sauce, brown sauce, or no sauce at all?
Brown sauce.
Yeah.
Gotta be brown,
Correct
man.
answer.
Gotta be brown.
Correct answer.
I mean, I don't like beans, so you can imagine me
Right.
stance on tomato sauce. Do you know what I mean? Not a big fan of that either. Don't mind it on pizzas. Don't mind it in sauces. Don't trust it on its own.
Oh, I remember one question. I'm going off topic a bit. I remembered this and I forgot to put it on my list, right? if you got to a stage where you could do stadiums and they were rebuilding St James's Park so it weren't available, would you play at Stadium of Light if that were the only other option?
What do you think? No, I couldn't, man. I'm born in the East End in Newcastle. You kind of put
£1 million on the table.
I've got
do it or you don't.
Oh, £1 million. No, still no. Listen, it's like I've got obviously I'm a Geordie, of course I am. East End in Newcastle. Not a massive fan of Sunderland Football Club, but I am aware that I've got a lot of fans who are from Sunderland, and I appreciate all them people. You know, it's all at the end of the day, it's music that I'm involved in, but I don't think I'd be allowed back in my house if I just done a gig at the Stadium of Light, unfortunately.
Good answer. Don't know if I believe you, but
I tell you, listen, if St James's Park was out of order, I'd go play Gateshead Stadium.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Great. Andrew Cushin, mate, I really appreciate your time again joining us for another chat.
Listen, thank you very much. It's the fourth one. Will there be a fifth?
I think so. Catch you on tour or something, or album 3 or something like that.
That's it. It's going to be great because it'd be great if we're still doing this in like 15 years' time and we can look back at all the footage of how older and more reliant on whiskey I get through the years.
And remake, Jesus Christ. Well, the first one was just it were on YouTube and it would just zoom. We are it looking nice and stuff, and I've got this kind of stuff. Things develop, don't they? Things get better.
Yeah, of course they do, man. Of course they do. Listen, I'm growing facial hair and stuff now, man. It's getting older, man.
Big lad.
Legend, Cole. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, mate. Thanks for joining us again for another edition of the podcast. Andrew Cushin, good luck with your album. Good luck with the tour, mate. I wish you all the best. You're a good lad, and thanks again. Cheers, pal.
Muchas gracias.